Please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I would really appreciate it, and I appreciate you for visiting my channel and listening to my content. All right, let's get into it. All right, good morning. How is everyone doing today? Thank you for listening to the channel. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So the other day, it was big talk about Trump and him creating this sovereign fund, the U.S. sovereign fund. Now, I didn't know anything about a sovereign fund when I first heard it. So I decided to do some research, just small. Like I do light touches on stuff just to get just so that I can get an idea of what it is about. So right here, I'm going to show you a couple of screenshots of what I found. So if you don't know and you don't understand, here's a little bit of information for you, so you can get a better understanding of what a sovereign fund is. Now, it doesn't have anything to do with crypto really, but it has to do with finances, and it has to do with our money as people that live in the United States of America. And in some ways, it could possibly be associated with crypto because it could be something that possibly could run on the blockchain, this sovereign fund. I mean, it could possibly, right? We just never know, especially with the fact that we're moving into a new digital age when it comes to finances, when it comes to money and stuff like that. So let's read right here. What a sovereign wealth fund is. A sovereign wealth fund, SWF, or sovereign investment fund, is a state-owned investment fund that invests in real and financial assets such as stocks, bonds, real estate, precious metals, or in alternative investment instruments such as private equity funds or hedge funds. Sovereign wealth funds invest globally. Now, a lot of the things in there, when you read it, it has something to do with crypto. It could connect to crypto in many different ways, especially when they speak about stocks, bonds, real estate, precious metals. All of these things are going to be transferring over to the blockchain, right? So that's what makes this very much an ideal thing for the US to do and a smart thing for the US to do. I mean, Trump is really killing the game right now with a lot of the things that he's doing because a lot of folks do not understand that the United States of America is not a country. The United States of America is actually a corporation disguised as a country or corporate. Yeah, I said it right. That's what's going on here. So with Trump being a businessman, he is the best person to run this so-called country that's actually a corporation. And with him creating this, I mean, it was the best move he could have done. Let's move on here. How does a sovereign wealth fund work? Sovereign wealth funds are investment funds created by national governments, usually to manage state-owned assets. Such funds are often financed by major federal revenue surpluses, often granted by the state's natural resources or other windfalls, according to experts at the Center for Global Development, CGD. Now, by the way, I'm doing this research here from Google, right? So these are just things that Google is telling me. But I also have a few other screenshots that I'm going to show you from Reuters, right? And we're going to take a look at that. But here, as you can see, it's investment funds created by the national government. I mean, I think that this is great. I really do. I was excited when I was reading it. I'm not even going to lie to you. I was very excited when I was reading this because I said, wow, this is something that is very great for the United States of America. So let's move on to the next slide. Does the U.S. have a sovereign wealth fund? Also, while the United States does not have a federal sovereign wealth fund, several of its states have their own SWFs. The list does not include pension funds that do not meet the SWF criteria. So the US itself never had a sovereign wealth fund, but we are going to be looking at the fact that there is other countries that does. And with knowing how this sovereign wealth fund, just again, doing the small research, and seeing how and knowing how this sovereign fund works and how it could be used, it really begs the question, why didn't we ever have a sovereign wealth fund to begin with? That is something that's very odd and very peculiar, if I could say that. All right, let's get on to the other slide. So as we see here, according to Reuters, what is a sovereign wealth fund? Sovereign wealth funds are investment vehicles owned by countries. Most act as an investment account or as a development tool or a combination of the two. They are designed to be a nest egg, allowing current money to be deployed in a way that benefits future generations. Now, that sounds very, very good and beneficial for the people of America. This is a different explanation of what a sovereign wealth fund is, right? And it really starts to get the gears in your head turning when you think about it. It really does. Let's go on to the next slide. Unlike pension funds, where people withdraw money for their own spending needs, SWFs are supposed to invest for the collective good of a nation. That could mean things like funding construction of an airport or school, but SWFs also often put money into financial products and buying stakes in companies, which can provide financial benefits well into the future and fund government budgets or social projects. Now, I don't know about you, but just from reading that, I mean, I'm thinking about how, Social Security could be paid out of that, how medical health care could be paid out of that, the fact that construction, so infrastructure projects could be paid for out of this fund. It really gets me excited about it because with President Trump wanting to take away income tax, everyone was wondering how these things will be paid. Well, the Sovereign Wealth Fund, the SWF, will be able to fund all of those projects, right? And it will be able to fund social programs such as, SSS payments, medical benefits, and things like that. I think that's where it would go. I think that will be a real big benefit to the people of America. Let's go on to the next slide here. How is a wealth fund funded? Typically, some or all of a country's budget surplus is passed to the SWF, which can then use it for new investments. However, the United States has consistently run budget deficits in recent years. Many funds have been set up by countries with strong commodities export industries, and proceeds from oil, natural gas, metals, and minerals sales by state-owned companies are often behind SWFs. Around 60% of funds are funded by revenue from natural resources per the IFSWF. I didn't do research on IFSWF, so I don't really know what that is. But I mean, it's something sovereign wealth fund. I don't know what it is. Forgive me for that. Let's move on to the next slide. How big could America's sovereign wealth fund be? Trump did not give an initial size or target amount for the U.S. sovereign wealth fund. However, when talking about the subject in September, He said an American sovereign wealth fund should approach or exceed $2 trillion. Now, this guy, yeah, he loves money, and so do I. Yeah, $2 trillion sounds really nice to me. Currently, the largest such fund is Norway's government pension fund global with 1.74 trillion in assets, followed by the China Investment Corporation with 1.33 trillion in assets, according to the Sovereign Wealth Fund Institute, a data provider. Abu Dhabi, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Singapore are among countries with prominent sovereign wealth funds, with between 801 billion and 1.06 trillion in assets, the institute said. So, as you can see here, a sovereign wealth fund will be very beneficial for the United States. It also puts us in a position to be among these other countries that have such fund that helps their governments. This is something that people don't really talk about. I never really heard anyone bring this up. I never really heard anyone say how beneficial that this could be and how beneficial it has been to other countries. And this puts us in a nice position as U.S. citizens or people of America, right? It puts us in a very good position. Again, I did not do an in-depth look into it. This is just a small touch just to give you an idea. And I felt like I wanted to bring it to you. So if you feel like doing more research, feel free to do that. And if you want to, send me a message, let me know what you found. I would appreciate it. Again, thank you for listening. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you're enjoying this content, please let me know in the comments. I'm out of here.